My playback's messed up. There we go. Try talking to me now. See if that works out for us.
Hello.
Hey, thank
Hello.
you.
Hi.
10-4. We're all right. Thank you, guys. I'll tell you what. Almost any of the online chats that we end up having, I'm going to try to keep them streamlined because I really don't want you guys to spend an hour with me. You guys spend enough time reading. You spend enough time doing assignments. What I want this time to end up being is very much, I want to cover a little bit of the homework assignments or quizzes that we went over. If I think that there's an unfair quiz question, I want to ask what you guys end up thinking. And there's a chance that I can win some points back for you guys. Outside of that, I want to give you just kind of an overview of extra pursuits that you can undertake in order to grow your professional career. Beyond that, I'm going to try to give you some insight as to what's coming up as far as quizzes and assignments are concerned. Sound good?
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. All right. First and foremost, how was week one? Did you guys survive it okay? Too detrimental to you?
I think it went all right. I did have my book until just today, and I was panicking over not getting the new one because I just saw that one announcement where you said that the used books didn't come with the code, and I ordered mine used, but it seems like the bookstore ended up sending the new books instead.
Fantastic.
So by chance I got lucky.
Hey, good on you, man.
I did have to order a completely different code.
Yeah, honestly, I don't know how in depth the companion site is on that. To be perfectly frank, I don't know if they really require a unique code all the way. It's kind of a mystery to me. To be perfectly honest, I navigated completely around having a code whatsoever as an instructor, but I didn't even put that I was an instructor, and somehow I was still able to access all the companion sites. So maybe you guys can have a good go at it and navigate away from that and not even have to put in credentials. But yeah, I don't know. Seems to be a gamble.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. Any questions? Go ahead. Go ahead, Brandon.
Oh, sorry. I was talking to myself. I forgot to mute my mic.
It's okay. I do that all the time. No worries. Okay. So, any questions or anything as we set out today to just discuss? I guess what I'm going to do first is kind of review quiz one and the first assignments.
Are we going to be using the turtle GUI a lot?
I really honestly. Yeah. Go on.
That side tells me you also feel the same about turtle as I do.
Yes, I do. Here's the thing. The reason why they're making you utilize that is because really when you're starting out, there's a huge gap when it comes to software development where developers live in their own realm and essentially designers live in their own realm. Hey, welcome to the club. So essentially there are two different realms and the gap between the two is astounding. And what they're trying to do is encourage you as a developer to get more on the graphical side of things. But let me just be honest, those things are separate for a reason. Typically those who are really savvy at making an engine aren't good at designing the body of a car. There's a reason for that. So they're trying to get you to dabble in things that you'll probably hate. And tell me honestly.
That makes sense.
On a scale of 1 to 10,
the worst,
how much do you love Turtle?
I had to shut it down like 50,000 times and restart it. I was like, oh my gosh, this clock is the death of me right now.
Yep.
Honestly, I had to look up a few things off the book just because I couldn't understand how to get around certain topics. Like, how was I supposed to make a clock with this thing?
Absolutely. Well, here's what I can commit to you guys. There are still several turtle things to come. I'm so sorry. And it's because I'm not the one who developed this course from the ground up. That doesn't mean that we have to stick that way. And the reason, what I'm trying to imply here is that what my plan is, I'm going to try to set up AWS Educate for us. And with that, I'm going to come up with programs that I want you to develop that are actually, as far as I'm concerned, somewhat challenging, but are actually a lot of fun to try to figure out. And instead of doing some of these turtle things, what I'm going to have you do is that if you want to blow those off, you can and take a hit on your assignments and instead make it up in the extra credit that I'm going to give you. So you're welcome to do either one. I'll let you, hey, if you want to tackle both, go ahead. I was one of those students who was like, please give me as much extra credit as I can because I would rather go into a test. I have test anxiety. I'm terrible with tests and quizzes. I'll bomb them all the time. Doesn't matter how much I know. because I always feel like I'm testing against the test, not against the content. But to be perfectly honest with you guys, I would love to end up making assignments for you so that you could walk into, the final exam and be like, I could seriously get an F on this, but I've done enough in the ways of extra credit programming assignments to be able to get this done and to pass this class with flying colors. Tell me if that seems ridiculous or not, because I'm open for suggestions.
That's not ridiculous to me. I always like having that just in case I do something awful at the end of the year.
That's what I'm known for. I'm used to bombing things. So let me make your life a little bit more or less anxiety ridden. Cool.
Yeah, I think that would be nice.
All right, cool. Well, I'll make some fun assignments for you guys that you can do on the side. And really, there's no obligation to do it. If you look at it and you say, that's way too complicated, I'm not going to bother, don't worry about it, really. I'll keep it in terms of extra credit. I do want you guys to know, and I welcome this throughout everybody in the class as well, just FYI, if you need an extension on anything, I'm willing to work with you on that. The reason why we have certain due dates and stuff is specifically because I want you to stay in the course and stay parsed with it. I don't want you to be like 3 weeks down the road and be inundated with like 10 assignments you need to do. At that point, you're so discouraged you don't want to continue on. You're ready to leave. Last thing I want to do is have anybody of this class leave. I want you to stick around. That also means that I need to have some regularity in my life. I've got 3 kids and 1 on the way, so it's not like I have a lot of extra free time on my hands, so I can't like continue to bend with every due date. But anybody needs an extension, by all means, let me know. I'm happy to accommodate. Okay, is that fair?
Sounds good.
You guys have lives. You have things that are going on. Some life isn't as easy as just saying, hey, this class is going to make demands of you, and like you're not beholden to me. To be perfectly honest, you're paying the school to teach you so that you have an incredible skill coming out the other side. You're not here for me, I'm here for you. That's the way it's supposed to be. Any professor who decides to tell you otherwise, I think is actually misguided in their understanding of what their purpose is. So, cool. Shall we go ahead and cover quiz number 1?
Yeah, that works. I think.
Here's the thing that I want to end up asking. By and large, people did a very good job. The people who are on this call with me right now have the extra privilege to fight for extra points, okay? What that means is there's one question in particular that as I look at the statistics of it, it's kind of mortifying. And it's even a question that I had to change a little bit to make it more focused on what it was looking for.
Is it the one about hardware?
It's actually, let's see. It is the one about hardware. It's specifically the one that says the central processing unit is the computer's brain. It retrieves and logically processes instructions directly from secondary storage, such as CD drive, USB drive, or hard drive, and executes them. You remember this question?
I feel like that's the one I got wrong, but I can't be positive.
It's quite possible. I will never say who got what wrong. Honestly, the thing is that only 18% of people got that right. Which makes me not think that it's a very fair question, or it was obfuscated and it wasn't very clear. So, does everybody understand why that's wrong after having taken the quiz? I'll take that. No. Okay. So let me just go ahead and describe it a little bit, and then I'll let you guys actually logic with me to say I think it's a garbage question. Is that fair?
Mm-hmm.
And you can tell me why it's a garbage question. I'm game. All right, so the idea that the CPU is the central processing brain of the computer, that's true. That's definitely true. The issue is that the CPU, what it does is it never ends up going out and it doesn't actually touch the data from the secondary storage directly. Never does. Never interacts with it directly from the get-go. Essentially what it does is it sends instructions to secondary or to primary storage, which is the RAM, the memory, to go out and get all that information from secondary storage. RAM goes out there, it has it all filtered into the RAM, and it's from the RAM the actual CPU starts processing that data. When it's done processing it, it'll say, okay, we can send that back over to secondary storage. From that point, it goes and saves it back into secondary storage, which is permanent storage. Essentially, it's not volatile. The machine gets turned off. It's not going to disappear on you. Usually saved on magnetic disks or saved in solid state drives. Now, here's the thing. I can understand why people would end up getting that wrong, because it actually ends up saying that it retrieves and logically processes instructions directly from the secondary storage. How you could parse that out in English is literally, it retrieves and logically processes instructions directly from secondary storage, i.e. it goes to secondary storage and gets those instructions, therefore it would be true. But what it's actually saying, and how I would parse it out in my head, was that it retrieves and logically processes instructions directly from secondary storage, right? So it's actually interacting with it and processing it there in secondary storage, which of course is not true. So does that make sense, how it's actually doing that?
Yeah.
Do you think it's a garbage question?
Yeah, I think it makes a bit more sense when you put it that way.
But this is the question. Here's the thing. My background is in linguistics. You can parse that out in two different ways in English, with clauses, without clauses. One way makes it a little bit more intentional to understand what it is. I don't necessarily know if that is a very clear question. And if you guys can all tell me right now that you, at the time that you were thinking that, know what the CPU does and how it accesses that information, processes it, and spits it back out to secondary storage, if you understood that, if you can tell me right now that you understood that going into this, but that you still got that question wrong because of how it's phrased, I'm willing to consider it.
Yeah, I understood that. I remember when I went through the test, I answered it correct the first time, and then when I was skimming back over it, I reread it, and I think I was like, oh, well, I'm thinking too hard into it, took the other meaning and changed it and got it wrong.
Okay.
So.
Okay, no, that's fair. Who else? Don't be bashful.
I'm going to be the honest one here. Well, I mean, it's not like you want to be honest. Anyway, I had no idea. I was clueless going in regarding that topic.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for the honesty. Anyone else want to lobby a thought?
No, I mean, I feel like I had a pretty good understanding of what a CPU is going into it, what it does, because at this point, most of us in our second year, we've learned about the CPU, 3 or 4 different classes already.
Of course.
I think the wording was almost a little ambiguous, maybe. Not ambiguous, but yeah, a little unclear, a little bit. Not horribly, but yeah, it kind of left a little bit to
the imagination for you to fill in the blanks.
Right. It wasn't terribly bad. I feel like if you stared at it long enough, you could be like, oh, yeah, that's what it meant. But if you were kind of just like reading it and trying to, hurry through the test, it's easy to misunderstand easily.
What do you think, Liz? What are your thoughts?
I know that going into the test, I knew what the CPU did. And so I think I read the question 2 or 3 times, and my brain must have filled in the blanks of what. And I was like, yeah. And then I read it back and I go, no.
No, honestly, thank you. What I think I'm going to do, you guys even saying, like, you know what it is, you know how it works. I'm okay with anybody who ended up missing those questions, that I will re-award them those points. Is that fair? Okay, well, then I'm just kidding. I was like, if I don't hear an answer, then no, I won't.
Sounds good.
No, okay, all right. So here's the other question that ended up coming up was the 10th question on it that ended up saying, what would you use in the command line to run the Python script named welcome pi? Remember this? Assuming that you are already in the scripts directory.
Oh. Yeah, I remember this question.
So essentially 59 got it correct.
Yeah.
So 59% ended up getting it correct. Other people ended up not on that. But this is the thing, is that somebody actually ended up writing, and rightly so, and they have established on their own machine that the default program, the default action when it ends up hitting a .py script or program is to run it with the Python interpreter. And so they ended up saying all you would end up putting in is welcome.py. And they made the case. They actually lobbied the case very well, reasonably. And they were like, here are my screenshots. And I was like, yes, absolutely, you win. The difficulty of this one is that, like, I don't know what else other people ended up putting in on that. It wasn't like true or false or multiple choice kind of situation. It really is like enter freeform, fill in the blank. So I don't know how exactly I ended up approaching that one, if I was going to end up changing it, but for those who are unaware, it was supposed to be Python welcome.py, right? Does that one make sense? Because I want to make sure Anywhere else that you're going to end up going, you're going to be given probably a work computer wherever you wind up at, unless you know you're working for yourself, doing consulting work, whatever else. You're not going to have everything set up to your specifications of what you want. And in fact, the IT support group is going to be pretty stringent about what they let you do. They're going to lock down your ports. They're going to say this is what you're going to have to use Internet Explorer as your primary browser. Ugh. And you're not going to be able to change it. Every day you're going to have to change it back to whatever else you want. Unless you're good at Linux. If you're good at Linux, then usually IT support won't bother with you because it's too much of a hassle for them. So note to you, if you really want to get around all of the, you know, roadblocks that business is put in place, use Linux.
That's if you want to deal with the Linux yourself.
Bingo. But hey, once you master it, it's so flexible. I'm just telling you. I like, honestly, much more fluent when it comes to Windows systems for me. But like after messing around with Linux for some time, I love it, and no one at work can stop me from doing what I want to do if I'm on it, which I think is hilarious. So they'll come at you and be like, hey, you can't do this or this. And I'm like, I'm on Linux. And they're like, Durr! So they can't say anything. So just so you know, if you master that, you get around a lot of really rude barriers.
I'll try, but I was using the command line, and I was like, what in God's name is going
Yep.
on?
No, you're in good company. You're in good company. But yeah, it does take some getting used to. Cool. Everybody understand the whole, you know, Python welcome.py thing? We good on that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'll probably end up changing the one question, rewarding points back, but maybe not that one, just because I feel like that's pretty straightforward, especially because I ended up saying, assuming that you're already in the scripts directory, which is implying that you aren't just typing it in, right, welcome pi. You're actually putting in like the Python command. But if somebody else wanted to argue with me on that and give me screenshots for their own computer, okay, cool. You know, I'll let you have a buy. All right, great. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about quiz number 2. Is that fair? You want to know about quiz number 2 and what you can be prepared for? Or do you want to just skip that? You guys don't care, right? You guys don't care.
I think I'm a little interested.
Okay, here we go. Things that you're going to want to note. You're going to want to know a little bit about native functions to Python. So we're talking about, this is going to be chapters 3 and 4. So native functions to Python. We're talking about, oh gosh, I don't even have my script up right now. You're looking at exponentials with regard to, you know, POW, P-O-W, and use that as a function to give the power to of two numbers, right? You're going to want to know about things like that, those built-in mathematical functions where you're not having to import math necessarily in order to use them. You're going to want to know about operators, specifically operators that are known as like shortcut operators. Those that'll you know, actually be, they assess essentially. Oh yeah, you saw my cat. Whoever saw my cat, yeah, she's around here somewhere. Good eye. So yeah, short circuit operators. Those are going to be essentially your and or. Those are usually where the breaks are in your code as you're putting in later a bunch of ifs and if or else's. That's going to be what helps short circuit something so that it ends up defaulting to a certain behavior. So they're your conditional operators. You're also going to want to know the difference between a method and a function. That is not an easy distinguishment to make. Usually when we talk about functions, you're talking about, you know, you guys know functions pretty well, I hope, at least the generality of it, that you end up writing essentially essentially a definition. And then whenever you end up calling it, a function ends up passing parameters to it. So you can put a string in there, you can put a number in there, and then what the function will do is it'll start processing those parameters that you provided, plug them into certain equations, whatever you ended up writing out, and it'll spit out an output typically. But really, typically, functions are oriented toward parameters that are input versus methods. Methods are different because they deal with object-oriented languages. And how many of you love object-oriented stuff? Who's a fan of Java? Really? Who's a fan of Java here? No takers?
My brain hurt when I tried Java. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I know it's
totally
a well
fine.
used.
Yep.
Popular program, but yeah, it's not for me.
Understandable. So here's the thing. Object-oriented is going to be wherever you guys end up going. And I'd love to give you kind of like a little bit of a description if it's helpful to you. This might actually make things worse rather than better. Do you guys know anything about Plato? You know, the ancient Greek philosopher?
Mm?
I'm going to take that as a yes. You guys are all enthusiastic,
Yep.
Platonic folks.
I took philosophy. And
Know a
ethics
little
class,
bit.
so I know what that's
All
all
right.
about.
All right, let me see what I can end up doing here. If I can do I want to actually do, if I can figure out where the, here, I'm going to do this. Tell me if you can see this little bad boy. Can you see this? Can you see my notepad?
Yeah.
All right, here we go. So let me tell you a little bit about Plato. This is going to help you understand a little bit about object-oriented, at least give you a better idea of it as we move forward. Like I said, this may confuse some of you, but hopefully it gives you an idea a little bit if there's still some confusion. Some of you had a nightmarish time specifically with Java and the object-oriented nature of Java. This should bring a little bit of elucidation because this is how it helped me perfectly, to be perfectly honest. So in Platonic philosophy, he ended up talking about that there's two different kinds of worlds. There's the perfected world. You can almost call it the heavenly. In the heavenlies, there are not really instances of objects. There's like a template of what makes something perfectly what it is. And so up in the heavenlies, there is a chair, okay? Does that even look like a chair? Kind of. The legs are all wonky. Bear with me. Okay. You got your chair? Now here's the thing. Chair in the heavenlies does not have a color. It doesn't have a material that it's made out of. It doesn't have a certain level of softness or hardness in so much as it is a chair. So the thing about the chair in the heavenlies is that it's just a cherry chair. It has no other reference point except for the fact that whatever makes a chair, it has. So it has, what makes a chair? Okay, let's go ahead and ask that question. What makes a chair? How would you, any chair that you end up seeing, you could end up seeing a chair, a modern art chair, which is like, looks like a space pod or something, and you're like, that's a chair. But it doesn't look like any other chair you've ever seen, but you just know that's what it is, right? So how do you know that's a chair?
Somewhere to sit?
Yep, there you go. Nailed it. So it's somewhere to sit. As Andy Bernard says from The Office, I believe it was, is that how do you make a table? And he's like, you make a chair, but you don't sit on it. And I'm like, I think that's really pretty hilarious, actually, because that's kind of what constitutes a table. A table is a chair that you don't sit on. You put other things on it. So that's interesting. So what else makes up a chair?
Technically, you can knock a person over and sit on top of them. Are they a chair?
That's true. No, you're absolutely right. So does that constitute chairiness? Some people would say yes, some people would say no. But do they fit the definition of a chair? What other traits of a chair would end up distinguishing a human being from an actual chair?
I guess a chair doesn't actually have thoughts.
Uh-huh. Hey, that's good. So I can't spell this to save my life. Is that right? Non-sentient?
Yep.
All right, what else?
I was going to say 4 legs, but then I realized that a chair can actually have 3 legs. I've seen
Or
that.
no legs, for that matter. It could just be a gigantic block or even a rock sitting somewhere, right? Yep. But here's the thing.
So
because you have to be able to sit on it, it has to have, how do I put this?
Solidity?
Yeah, or corporality, so you can actually interact with it with your body. Is that fair?
Yeah, that works.
I like solidity. There's no way to end up. Is that even a word? I don't know. We're just going to go with it. Anything else that you guys can think of?
Corporeality? I think it is a word.
Yeah, corporality is, but I don't know about solidity, but I'm going to stick with it. We're just going to go with it. Cool. What else?
Fair enough.
Anything else? A lot of lovers of philosophy here. But there's a reason why I'm doing this in some regards, because literally all computer programming can be reduced to philosophy. You are making logical arguments. Whenever it comes down to you programming anything, you're arguing a point with a computer. And you guys know, you guys who have done this for a while, computers are stupid. They can't figure out anything unless you tell it definitively what to do. And if you don't give it direction, it's going to totally botch it up for you. So you need to be very precise. Anybody who's played with specifically CSS, you may know cascading style sheets, dealing with internet or web web applications or web design,
Mm-hmm.
if you don't tell it exactly what you want it to do, you're going to get something that looks really wacky. Usually JavaScript and CSS are my nightmare friends. They make my life hard.
I don't really like JavaScript or CSS either.
All right. Here comes the part. Well, and that's the thing, is that they're the ones that make everything like pleasurable to even look at. You just have an HTML site out there that people are going to be like, wow, the 90s called doing your site there. All right, cool. We good on this? So essentially, I'm just going to give this to you. What you could end up saying, oh, give me my drawing back. What you would call this, essentially, everything that's up here, this is what would make up a class, right? This is a class. There's nothing about this. It just has the general things that would constitute a chair. But what happens when you start making certain instances of the chair? So all these different things that you've seen, different kinds of chairs that you've seen, like some that end up looking like, just make a stupid little sofa chair here or something, right? But like, what's this made of? You can sit on it, yeah? So that makes that, it's non-sentient, that's good. Solidity. But now you're going to think about other things that end up making up this. So in order for it to have solidity, it has to have like a material that's made out of, right? So this is made out of what? It's made out of, I don't know, like leather? Is that fair? It's like made out of leather and like padding. But it still fits these, sit on it. True. Non-sentient, also true. Solidity, it has the materials that make it up. But now there can be endless kinds of chairs. You can have this like, I don't even know, like a Punisher type chair that I imagine Skeletor sits on, if that anybody knows that stupid reference. I was an 80s kid, so my apologies.
Beautiful.
I'm embarrassed for myself. Don't placate me.
I'm like, I know what you're talking about.
But this is the thing, and so now the questions are becoming: can you sit on it? Yeah, true, totally. Is it non-sentient? Yes, unless that head is actually making demands, and then we've got an issue. Solidity. Yeah, what's it made out of? It's made out of bone, right? So like, but it's still a chair. So the thing is that the particulars of chair can totally change. The particulars of chair can totally change, but what makes a chair have chairedness is that it fits the criteria of this class. And so every single time you make a chair that has those elements of a class, it becomes an instance of the chair class. So every single time that you end up having like the class, gosh, it's so much better if I just actually not click around with this. So you end up having class chair, and you end up saying that you want, okay, that's good. Let's go ahead and say that we want to end up making a, I don't know, I'm going to use kind of this for example. You end up saying new chair. And you're going to make it equal to a new chair. And so what you've done is you've created this blank template of chair, and now you fill in all the details of it after that. You end up saying its material is made out of whatever you want. And now you actually have a chair that's no longer this form, this empty form in the heavenlies. It now can be here on earth and can be corporal, and you can interact with it. It has qualities. So you can use that in the same way that you look at a person. What is a person? What is a person in the heavenlies? It has no characteristics that are definable about it. But once it becomes an instance of a human being, it has eye color, it has personality, it has a name, it has things that it's good at, skills, thoughts. It has a philosophy that can govern it. Does that all make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Is that helpful for understanding object-oriented stuff? Or
Yeah,
are you like, thank you for wasting my time because I'm happy to be here for you for that? All right, cool.
No, I think I get a general idea.
All right, awesome. So here's the thing. When we're going to get to object-oriented stuff, and you're going to need to know object-oriented stuff because that's by and large what a lot of programming is these days. And even if you run away from Java, Java will come and hunt you down because everything has picked up some element of object-oriented in some capacity here and again. So, but the thing is that object-oriented doesn't have to be the scary thing that some people end up making it out to be. When you start thinking about it the right way, you're just like, you're going to run into the occasional, like, I want to do a function that says you haven't created an instance of that function yet. You're like, what does that mean and why is this happening to me? But you'll be like, oh, in order for human to do something, there has to be a human that has a name and eye color and thoughts that are able to carry that out, so it makes sense. So hopefully that gives you some elucidation on how that functions. Now, Any nightmare you guys crying on the inside because we talked about object-oriented in Java? You can let me know, honestly. All right.
Remembering strings and a lot of issues I had with that.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and this is the thing, is you guys may or may not have realized at this particular point, you do know that Python is technically, behind the scenes, object-oriented. So Python is really using, even when you're looking at what a number is, when you're looking at what a string is, when you're looking at what a dictionary is, these aren't just base level types that you'll end up seeing in other languages, like an integer, an int, or a float. You're actually seeing an object. So all of these are objects. So you look at a float, it's actually an object of number. You're looking at an integer, it's an object of number, right? So this is actually interesting. Behind the scenes, you're going to see a lot more of that stuff. So it's good to know, what does Python tend to use? Does it use methods or does it use functions? And the answer is it uses methods, because methods are when you end up doing a function that's based on an object. So the object needs to do this. So you're not passing parameters to a method usually. Usually what you can, but usually what the method is doing is it's looking at the object that it's attached to, and it's saying, human needs to speak. And so it's using what it's attached to, that the human's able to speak because of its humanness, and it's a function derived from that. Hopefully that makes sense to you. But it's good to know for how the rest of this class is going to parse out. And you'll start seeing it. If you have that understanding going forward, you'll start seeing how methods are used more than functions. We good on that?
Yeah.
Sounds good.
So
Cool. Go ahead.
basically, anything you type in from the method is pulled from that and used throughout the rest of the code. That's how I'm interpreting it.
No, understandable. So you end up having an object. You end up creating. Let's just say you create a number. You can have. Well, I think that actually number is kind of a rough go, because they made a whole bunch of functions. Oh, that's hilarious. I decided to look over quiz number 2 in this to give you guys some feedback, and it's being like, you have 5 minutes to finish this quiz. I'm like, I'm not taking it. Get off my back. Okay, so the nature of, and don't think of it in terms of just that. So just note the difference really right now, the difference between a method versus a function. A method is going to be attached to an object, and it's going to use the object to understand what it's doing. So if you ended up having, for example, an object called cat, and you tell the cat to speak, what's it going to do? It's going to meow at you. If you have a human and the human is supposed to speak, what's it going to do? Hopefully not meow at you,
Speak.
but I don't know, you guys, maybe that's your shit. All right. So same thing, dog.
I was going to make a comment, not
good.
appropriate.
All right, cool. So other things to know for the quiz. I got really off on a tangent here on the quiz, but you're going to want to know what selection statements are and how those are utilized within Python. So essentially a selection statement is kind of how things, how you change the flow and direction of your code. And you'll see that those of you who haven't read up on it yet, just know what selection statements are. And then know a little bit about different kinds of operators. It's helpful to know the names. It'll make you sound really educated and intelligent when you're talking to other people in your work environment. So know what a relational operator is, know what an equality operator is, know what a conditional operator is. These things aren't really, like, once you actually see them, you're like, oh, what is an equality operator? Any idea? You could probably shoot
the equality operator basically helps in defining variables, if I remember correctly.
In part, essentially what it comes down to is when you're saying, is A equal to B, right? And you can end up usually you use the equal sign twice, right? Equal. Because that's actually checking the equality of two things. Is that actually functioning? Yeah, so that's going to be like an equality operator for assessing that. But that's actually relational, right? So you're checking the relationality between those. It's a greater than, a less than, a greater than or equal to, things like that. So you're wanting to check those. So know the difference between different kinds of operators, because that'll actually help you out in the quiz as well. You good on the quiz?
Yeah, I think so.
I think that should give you enough feedback in order for you to absolutely demolish it, I hope. At least you'll know what to look for. Cool. As far as the assignments are going to go, so those of you who are on here with me, as I told you before, I'm going to go through and I'm going to do all the assignments myself. Some people who have been going through some of this stuff have been using Python 2 point whatever. which is hilarious to me because I'm like, I don't care what you guys end up using. You can use Python 2 point whatever or Python 3 point whatever. Either way, I'm versatile. I know how to move through it. But it's funny because I'll start using my 3.6 shell and somebody's using a 2 point something, and I'm like, okay, it's all processing. But if I went the other way around, it bombs out. So just make sure you're consistent with whatever you use. Otherwise, it makes my grading a lot more difficult. And I should have all of your module 1 stuff done soon. Beyond that, I also am taking notes in the book as I'm going through it, as I'm taking as I'm doing the assignments, because like I said, I'm doing all the assignments too, and I'm taking all the quizzes myself before they come to you, so that I can make sure that they fit and are well thought out. Clearly, I failed on the first quiz. I'm sorry. But what I'm doing, since I'm taking notes on that, would you guys like me to actually give you my notes from the book? So the notes that I'm taking, do you want me to extend those to you that I can post them on the class website?
That'd be really cool, but if it's a lot of extra work for you, then it's
just so
Yeah,
you know, what I do, I'm a very serious student, so anytime that I'm doing anything, I'm reading or whatever, I'll take notes and I'll save it all to a document, just a typical Word doc. So I'll just copy stuff from the PDF of the book, and I'll take all the stuff that I think is important, or take whatever pictures I need to, and I'll put it all in there for quick and easy reference. So I'll fly through it, and it's for me. I do it for myself. But here's the thing. You guys, some of you may actually benefit from doing that much work yourselves, because me doing that makes me know the material better, and makes me know what I'm supposed to be looking for. Me extending it to you guys makes me lose no sleep. I just don't want you all to get reliant on those notes instead of taking your own.
I see what you're getting at.
So
basically, it makes it easier to retain stuff when you do it yourself rather than relying on someone else.
Exactly. So that's the thing. I can give you guys my notes from my cloud studies. I can give you my notes from all the time I was in school, but the reality is it's going to do none of you any good unless you're actually doing the work yourself, and then those notes become a secondary means to review everything that you picked up. So if you want to use them for that, I'm happy to extend them. I just don't want you to become reliant on that, because I will start seeing grades slip. Cool.
Sounds good.
All right, I'll do that. All right. Any other questions, comments, thoughts regarding anything? I'm here for you guys.
What's the end of this class kind of looking like? Like, what's the...
Oh, you can go first.
Sorry. What's the final kind of looking like? Is it building custom code, or?
So there is, here, let me actually go and check out my assignment listing. There is supposed to be a final project that's included in this. I actually want to go back and review that a little bit. They have your typical companion site stuff. There is supposed to be, in the final exam, there's 2 parts to it. There's the main part, which asks you a ton of questions, and there's actually part 2, which is supposed to be they're going to give you like essentially a project that you have to figure out how to do, and then write a program based on that. Essentially, at the end of it is, if you, let me see if I can even check the grading criteria here. If it compiles and runs, the output is correct and well formatted. You've got comments in there. You have some documentation. If it's actually doing what it's supposed to end up doing, and it fits. I love this. It fits in industry standards. I'll put it through a code scan at the end of it and see if you have any code smells. And I'm just kidding. I'm not going to do that to you. Then you should get full marks for it. But to be honest with you, I'm going to make sure that you guys are ready for that. It's going to be dealing with figuring out, yeah, that doesn't actually look too bad. You'll just have to use your Noodle. I'm not going to give you any more than that for right now. But it's dealing with numbers and trying to figure out how to parse out numbers correctly. So, and a lot of those points are for like good documentation and good commenting and proper formatting of the code. If you give me a project that compiles at the end of the day with really good comments, well, then you've got like half the points. So keep that in mind.
That's awesome. It's better than coming up with like a fully creative code.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I'm not gonna make you Houdini me like Come up with a project so that I can rob you and put it onto the Amazon market and make a killing. No, I'm not going to do that to you. It's going to be.
I'll
you're
be
gonna
on
have
the
a very-
lookout.
Yeah. Good call. Good call. Yeah, I'll make sure that you guys are ready, like very ready. Like I said, I want all of you guys to actually complete this class successfully without tremendous issue. As long as you keep up with us on this, you're not going to have much of a problem by the end of it. And if I screw up and give you a terrible quiz question, well, clearly I'll make up for it. Cool. Any other questions? Brandon, you were going to say something?
Right. I noticed something with the third part of the Module 1 assignment. It was 215. I noticed that when I went and put in the results, it wasn't exactly the same. Like, it was close, but I don't know why it was like the numbers in the decimal area were like
Right.
completely different.
Were they using import math for that to get those
Some
results?
of them were. Some of them were, yeah. And I think that might have been part of it. Just so you know, okay, so here's the thing. I want you guys, I need to clear the air about this. Some of you guys on homework assignments or whatever else are getting fancy with me. Some of you guys know freaking Python like really freaking well. It's mind-blowing to me, to be perfectly honest. Clearly, you're like, people are throwing around all their loops and stuff and conditionals, and I'm like, all right, cool. Here's the thing. You're not going to get any more points from that. And let me tell you why you're not going to get any more points from that. Because in the workplace, even if you end up making excellent code and have all these cool ways that it's doing it and algorithms that are doing it in the background that are incredibly complex and beautiful that all of your other developers are looking at and they're like so impressed with, that's not going to get you anything. It's not going to get you paid more. Nobody's going to say, none of your managers are going to come up to you and pat you in the back and be like, killer code. No one's going to do that to you. What they are going to do is if you end up saying, I got what you wanted me to get done. I got your project done, and it gave me enough time to go work on this other project that you wanted me to get done, right? And I got it done fast. And what's going to happen is that if you're thorough, if you put comments in your code and you say, you put your name in there, comment it out at the top, and you also put what assignment it is, commented at the top, and you could even put a little comment there. This is what this is supposed to do. That's fantastic. You do that in the workforce, they're going to be like, fantastic. Look at that documentation on the code, because nobody wants to really read the code. They actually want to see what it does. And if it outputs exactly what they want it to, and it looks nice enough, they're going to be like, fantastic. But then if you end up saying, I'm done with this project, I want to do this next project, and you kill that project really quickly, or you have enough time to innovate something totally new, right? You're like, I had enough time to create something that helps all of us. And nobody told me that I had to do it. I went out of my way, sought out work so that I could do a new project that'll help everybody on this team. People will lose their mind and be like, I want to give you a raise. I want to get you promoted because you take initiative. It's not about how pretty or complex your code is, because nobody gives you props for that. They are really concerned with you being as productive as possible to create things to make everybody else's job easier. That doesn't mean you're like slaving over a computer writing code nonstop. What it literally means, however, is that what they care about is not what you think as a student developer they care about. Just so you know. And I hate to say it, I wish that were the case, that people said, beautiful code. Nobody's going to say that unless you end up going in to your first interview and you show them, they're going to pull one over on you. You go to Press Genie, you want to know how they start out their interview. They'll end up saying, how do you solve this particular problem? And then you'll end up putting in a whole bunch of if-else statements. Give it to them nice and clean with a bunch of commented code, and they'll be like, excellent job. It looks very good and good documentation, but here's the problem. You could have used the ternary operator here. You could have made 3 lines of code, 1 line of code. And because of that, you didn't do well enough. And you're going to be like, what the heck? A ternary operator? Are you joking? That's what they'll end up doing. And usually they might end up giving you a job anyway if you showed good moxie. But the reality is that even if you do everything excellently and wow them with your code, they're going to find something to nitpick. So instead, make good output. Like, make sure the output of what they say they want is what they get. So when you're doing some of these assignments and it says, here's what the computer should say. They give you an example. Please input the length and radius of your cylinder. Then make sure you write down exactly that, right? In your in your eval statement for input, give me the input, give me the length and radius of the cylinder. Make sure you put it exactly, because a business unit's going to come to you and say, this is what I want it to do and say. And if you do something other than that, you will pay the price. And it's really sad, because typically people don't like to think of people in IT as being people. They think of you as kind of machinery. You're there to get the job done for them. So sorry for that bleak that bleak overview, but part of that comes with too. I don't want to be mean in any of these classes, but if the book asks for something specifically and you approach it in a different way, as far as what the printed question is, you should probably get marked down for that. I'm not doing that at the beginning here, but if it says ask somebody for the length and in the same line ask them for the radius, better do that, because a business unit will tear you apart. Cool.
Mm-hmm. One thing I did notice, though, in the book mostly, when I was doing the geometry of the area of a hexagon,
yep,
2.15, when I went to look around in the book to find how to actually do that, how to write that equation into Python, I couldn't find any examples of that happening.
Yep.
So I was kind of unsure on what I was supposed to do.
You're absolutely right. There's a reason why this book has been given some negative reviews on Amazon. That's part of it right there. But let me tell you something, you guys, when it comes down to you actually being professional developers at some point, and I'm sure that all of you will manage that capacity with great enthusiasm and nail it. Here's the thing. Go to Stack Overflow. You have a question, go look it up online.
Yeah.
Do it. Do it. Literally, because you're going to forget things all the time. You know how often I end up going and referencing my old textbooks in my career? Never. Never. I am like, you know what? I don't know how to do this, and I'm looking at everybody else in Stack Overflow to find an answer. And then I test it all until it actually is completely where it needs to be, and I understand it, and I'm like, okay. But there's a reason why the community exists. I would say if you can't find something in the book, feel free, without any guilt whatsoever, go check it out online and see if you can find a good solution.
That definitely makes me feel less guilty, because sometimes I'm at work and I'm like, am I doing this because I'm stupid, or am I doing this because I'm just like, I really need some help?
No, literally every professional developer's best friend is going to be the internet. So don't feel guilt. Everybody's done it.
Yeah, in order to figure out the clock thing, I had to do that so I could figure out where certain things go. And of course the question I asked, just so I had to look up the equation, how to write the equation out with that. So.
Yep. Fear not. I had to go look up some help for the clock question because I kept botching it. So I was like, you know what? You're in good company. Don't worry about it. Cool. Anything else assignment-wise? I'm going to go ahead and give you a couple more pointers after this. Anything else? So sorry.
Not so much a pointer, but I more just the thing I noticed, not anything in the assignments or anything, but with the book I got, just tried using that code in the book, and it did not accept. So.
Okay. See if you can actually go around it. I hate to say, if it's not working out for you, see if you can bypass that. You should be able to go to the companion site and mess around and see if you can
add a different number.
I would even say you don't even just to go to the main area. Let me see if I can find it. So after you end up getting into the companion site, like I said, somehow, and I can't tell you how, I got onto the companion site without putting in any credentials whatsoever and was able to do everything that I needed to do. This is my encouragement. There has to be a back door on there somewhere. I never want to end up saying that because I want rightly, justice to be paid. If you can get a hold of customer support or something from that, or you can write to the author or something. Yeah, here. If I end up going to, Pearson site, I feel like I never have to log in. It just lets me have everything. Yep, companion website. Did I say take a tour? See, I forgot what I did. Somehow I got around it. You can too. If I figure out how to do it, I will let you know, okay? But yeah, I totally bypassed their entrance in the login and was able to do everything I needed to do. And I know this because I was taking all the quizzes and stuff. Did I go to the author's website? I think I went to the author's website. Yup. Yup. But then it doesn't give you chapters 16 through 23. That's what I did.
Oh, okay. Do we need those?
Yeah, probably. I haven't looked that far ahead. I'm sure you do. But the reality is that you can go ahead and you should be able to contact, at least go to the author's website and then be like, how do I get this because it's not working, right? That's my encouragement. Go ahead and give that a shot. And if you still have any problems with it, at least you have 15 chapters before you're going to have to, cough up the code. All right.
Yeah.
If I find
it's
an answer
only
for you,
$25 at the very least.
Still, I don't want you to have to spend that. All right, cool.
Plus, I'm not going to have that until a bit in a month.
So here's, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up because I don't want to keep you guys all night. So here's the thing, twofold. I'm going to go ahead and try to share this real quick. All right, can you see that?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is AWS Educate. This is what I was telling you before. This is all extraneous stuff that you guys can mess with in your own time in some ways. Some of the extra assignments that I'll be giving, your extra credit stuff, will be in here because I want to test this out. I want to use it. This is top-notch stuff. Like I said, if you guys can learn AWS stuff, if you can go get a certification, you'll be sitting pretty. Straight out of the gate, if you end up having like a developer associate's pretty much certificate, which takes some effort, don't get me wrong, but you guys can manage. You can start your software development professional career with maybe $80,000 a year. Okay. So my encouragement is to get into AWS as much as you can. Later on, you guys can ask me questions about some of the things dealing with virtual machines and stuff that you can set up in here. I'm going to go ahead and play for you real quick the little video that's associated with this, and I'm going to try to get you guys into it, but I haven't had enough time to play around with it myself. So I'm going to play around with it, and I'm going to make a video with just me, myself, and I, kind of cruising through it and showing you how to do it. You'll find that in the announcements. I'll go ahead and post it, and you guys can actually go and start your own little thing. But if you master this, I guarantee you guys will be making a killing. All right, that's what I want for you. There you go. Here's your little AWS Educate video.
AWS Educate's Cloud Career Pathway. AWS Educate helps you create a pathway into innovative and lucrative opportunities in the rapidly expanding cloud industry. On AWS Educate, you will discover the skills necessary to advance into cloud careers, explore content, test your knowledge, seek micro-credentials as badges and certificates of completion, and even have the opportunity to apply for jobs and internships in the cloud. Start off by building your profile, adding your resume, classes, degrees attained, and other facets of your experience. Then, select a cloud career field. From there, we'll personalize your plan by providing content that matches your pathway. As you consume that content, we'll prompt you to take knowledge checks of 3 to 5 questions in order to gauge your comprehension. After you've completed 50% of the knowledge checks, you'll have a chance to earn an AWS Educate badge. Then, up-level your profile by completing a project and a final assessment, and you can receive an AWS Educate certificate of completion. Take applicable courses at your school or online to grow your knowledge and fill gaps in your skill set. All of these achievements can be added into your portfolio. Then put it all together. Apply for a job or internship at Amazon or at one of our customers or partners through the AWS Educate job board. Download your portfolio and send it to your potential employer to get your ideal job in the cloud. So what are you waiting for? Start your career pathway today.
Okay. Sound cool?
Sounds good.
Okay. So this is kind of fun stuff. If you decide to take the developer route, they'll actually give you a whole bunch of cool developer stuff. And if you learn some serverless stuff, and I'm just telling you, serverless, if you can learn how to create a web application completely serverless, and you go to somebody and you say, look, I don't need a server to run any of this stuff. Here's my web application utilizing Django and Python, and you end up going to them and saying, I require no server to end up doing this. This is all run in the background in AWS Lambda. They will lose their freaking minds and hire you on the spot. If you're able to pull that off, they will absolutely lose it. They'll throw a ton of money your way and you will have a solid job, okay? I'm not even kidding. Because people don't know how to do serverless well yet. If you can learn how to do it, you're set. Here's the other site that I was mentioning a little bit before. It's acloud.guru. Fantastic essentially site here. Just so you know, this entire website is run on serverless architecture. So they're not running a server at all here. This is all a bunch of front-end stuff with static content. So nothing is being processed here. And then I'll go ahead and chime in here real quick, and I'll show you essentially what they end up having. You can end up getting memberships and stuff here. It's usually about $30 a month if you wanted to get your own education. You guys are so busy with school right now as it is, you won't have time really to mess with a lot of this stuff. But there's even free trials. You can go ahead and hop in this at some point if you want to, and look at all the different videos that they have. Like I said, this is all serverless. All of this is serverless right now, so they're not utilizing anything. Every 1 million processes that they do in a serverless architecture using Python in the background, 1 million runs of a function ends up costing them 20 cents essentially. So this costs them nothing to maintain. Mind-blowing. So you can end up looking at virtually anything. It gives you kind of, if you want to, right now I'm doing big data specialty. It's what I'm doing in my free time. I just kind of go through this and I learn a whole bunch of skills. AWS Solutions Architect Professional is the other one that I'm messing around with. I already am an AWS Certified Solutions Architect and a Developer Associate. And I'm also a Azure Solutions Architect Expert. So let's see if I ended up, let me see, where's my, let's go check out my profile real quick. So this is the fun thing that you could end up doing after you end up accumulating some resources. You do AWS Educate. You can come on here and start throwing a whole bunch of your credentials in. And this allows you to actually put everything on here. Here are my certificates. And I haven't been able to put my Azure one up yet because they haven't, for some reason, processed the lookup on that. But actually, you can put all of your job history. There's your academic transcript for cloud stuff. And essentially, I'll be honest with you guys, every day I receive at least two job offers. Every day. Job offers both local and throughout the country to come and do cloud work and development work with all kinds of different companies. And they're offering me a heck of a lot. So I'm just saying I want that for you guys as well. It's worth giving a shot to it. Come check out acloud.guru. Pick up do a video or two in your free time. They're like 7 minutes long. Yeah, it's worth your time. I'm just telling you. Cool. Any questions, comments, thoughts?
Not that I can
Not
think of at the
really.
moment.
Okay, cool.
I'm excited to look it up though.
Absolutely. And here's the thing. Any of you guys decide you want to go down this route and actually you're enthused about cloud technologies, I will give you my notes. Like I said, I'll give you the notes just like I do for the class. I'll give you my notes for what I went through in here, and they'll help you solidify so much. I'm happy to share any of my knowledge with you guys. If at some point, even in the future, you want to meet with me personally to talk about a career path down this, I'm more than happy to do so. So you want to treat me to coffee or vice versa, I'm happy to talk your ear off and get you set. All right.
I see. It's for the coffee, isn't it?
That's really what it's for. Isn't that what it's always for?
Good to know.
Well said. All right, cool. I have overstayed my welcome. I planned on this being half an hour, but somehow we turned it into an hour. My apologies. Guys, go get some rest. Keep up with your assignments. Like I said, anybody needs an extension or anything, let me know, and I'm happy to work with you.
Thank you, Ash. I appreciate your enthusiasm too. I don't know, I haven't really said that, but
thank you.
Yeah, it makes everything, I think, seem a lot more optimistic and attainable and things like that. And then hearing your success story, and then I don't know, it makes everything seem a lot more optimistic, I guess.
Thank you. Well, seriously, you guys are picking an astounding career path. I mean, you going down this road, it can pay dividends. If you've got an enthusiastic heart that wants to take initiative on stuff, you want to go pioneer your own path, I kid you not. You guys want to start a business with me in like 5 years, you guys are kicking butt programming, come and talk to me. Like, I want to hire some amazing people and like build an amazing, like, I don't know, business that can do incredible things and fix what's broken in the world. And yeah, I don't know, let's do something. So anyway, it's for selfish reasons that I want you guys trained up. That, and also I want to see your best met. So anyway.
Yeah, I appreciate it, because I know a lot of times it's like, I'm almost done with my associates, and yet I still feel really lost on what exact avenue I'm gonna take with this.
Yeah,
Like,
absolutely.
where am I gonna go with developing? Am I gonna actually, there's just so many ways you can take it, whether it be via the cloud or traditional. I just don't really know where to go.
Absolutely. Maybe a combination of all those things. Like I say, you
I'm in the
learning
exact
stuff
same
is only the
position.
best. Go ahead. Go ahead, Brandon.
I was just confirming what she said. I'm in the exact same position. I'm just about done with my associates. I have this semester, and that's it. And I'm still concerned about where I'm going to be after this.
Absolutely. Well, hey, whatever, come what may, come and contact me. If you're looking for a job,
knowing that
I'm not even kidding. If you are looking for a job down the line, if you don't know where to go after this, you get your associates and don't know where to go, make sure you keep my information and come contact me. I'll try to find a way for you to find a good path for you, one that you're not bored. You're not going to be bored, and you're also not going to feel like you're just I don't know, working for the empire, right? Like you're not just going to live underneath the finger of the man. You'll actually have a fulfilling career where you get to actually pioneer your own path, do your own thing. So by all means, come and contact me. I'm happy to help you guys with whatever beyond this class. Even if you left this class, I don't care. Like, come chat with me. I'm happy to help.
I appreciate it.
One last thing. You said you went to the author's site regarding the Pearson thing. When you said you got to the quizzes, were you referring to the little self-tests?
Yep.
The multiple choice self-tests here?
Yep.
Oh, okay. So
yep.
Does that mean like how do I send that then? Like, do I screenshot it?
Yeah, screenshot it. Screenshot it. That's it. You bet.
Oh, okay, cool.
That's all honestly I did. So you got some free time. Go ahead and use that. That's what I've been using to look at a lot of that stuff. And it's all the same exact chapters. So I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. By and large.
Okay, that makes
a load off. Huh?
Yeah, it takes a load off. I was worried because I was like, oh man, I'm not gonna be able to do any of these author quizzes for who knows how long.
Exactly. No, have at it. I mean, you should poke around here. And like I said, try to get in contact with the actual publisher and be like, please fix this. It's not working for me. If they tell you that you have to spend another $25, haggle with them. tell them, I'll give you $5. Let's see how that works. Anyway, if anything else that you guys end up needing, go ahead and contact me, email me, message me, whatever. I'm at your disposal. Anyway, I'm going to let you guys go so that you have a good night. Go and read, study. I don't know. Fulfill your destiny.
All right. Thank you.
Absolutely. Have a beautiful evening. We will talk to you all later.
Have a good night.
Thanks. You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.